some jazz today. Yes, you gon' learn, you gon' learn, you gon' learn. It was just past 1, 2, 3 man with a 4, 5 step to the door like, oh my gosh, just throw that cash in a backpack.
Hey everybody, it's Liz from the Lemon Bowl.
Vince from Irie Kitchen.
And welcome to the Irie Lemon Podcast.
Hey guys, this is episode 4 of the Irie Lemon Podcast, and today we're going to talk about consistency.
Woo-hoo. Some people were guessing online if C was for calories. Good news, folks. We're not talking about calories today. We're talking about consistency.
Real quick though, thoughts on calories. You have a funny saying. I want to see if you're going to say it.
Oh, I don't eat things that aren't worth the calories.
Yeah, worth the calories.
Yeah, that blew his mind, but it's true. I try not to, like for example, I'll eat anything, nothing's off limits. Like in terms of like, I don't not eat carbs and not eat dairy. Like everything's fine in moderation, whatever. And it has to be worth the calories. So like if there's a big basket of gross, cheap bread, I'm not going to eat it. Not worth the calories.
I'm still learning what calories are and is, so no comment.
Well, we'll
I see people talking about it all the time.
Not today, though. Today, consistency. So,
okay, Liz, how do you define consistency?
It's not fair. All right, consistency. So for in my life, consistency has been a part of my weight loss journey, obviously. Probably my marriage, probably college, school, and of course, most recently, growing my business. And I would just say consistency is creating expectations of people, for example, in terms of my business. So, whether that's posting on my blog consistently, or consistency in terms of how I lost 60 pounds was consistently working out. So just doing things on a regular basis is how I would define it. What about you?
I think consistency is the secret to success.
Ooh, look at you with that fancy answer.
Look at that fancy answer. That's why I had to go first, guys, because I want to have a better answer than Liz.
Type 3.
But for me, being consistent is just showing up every single day. Now, if time allows or whatever circumstance you're in, that will determine when and how and can you be consistent. But I do think that is the difference maker from people who are successful at something or not, right? So hard work, in my opinion, is like what it actually takes your mental or your body to do something, right? Like I'm a hard worker. You're a hard worker. We know a lot of hard workers. I'm sure the Irie Lemon fam are very hard workers.
Clearly, if they're
right?
listening to this podcast.
Clearly. The question is are you consistently a hard worker across the board? Right?
So you're saying that you need to be, like, you're talking about consistency in terms of, like, are you in every aspect of your life consistent?
I do think that can be layers to be pulled back. But yes, like, are you a typically consistent person, right? And then, like, everyone has obviously different definition of what that means. But for me, it's just showing up, right? No matter if it's easy work or hard work, you're consistently doing the thing. Okay,
so you said consistency is the key to success. So
yeah.
How have you been consistent in your business, and how has that led to your success?
So, and
then perhaps maybe times you haven't been consistent. Yeah. And this could be personal or professional.
Yeah, I'm talking about.
And how it hasn't been.
So before the restaurant and after the restaurant, I'm consistently going to be chasing my goals of success and building businesses. That's me being consistent, right? Like that's like me chasing my North Star. I'm consistently always going to be chasing that. I feel like as a blatant statement, and mind you guys, I'm super big picture. So for me, that gets me going is like, that's what I'm being consistent about. Like I cannot get excited about being consistent about showing up at 8 a.m. on a Tuesday morning every single day. That isn't what gets me going, right? I show up at 8 a.m. or 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. every single day because I'm chasing my bigger goal. That's like what
So what you just said is something that's really important. Is that's really more about what your motivation is to be to be consistent, to show up every day.
Exactly.
So that's a great point. That
exactly.
It's really about what your big picture goal is, which is super important. If you are struggling with consistency, is usually it comes down to you not having a firm understanding of your motivation.
Yeah, and your belief, or you could just be frankly a little lazy. Because I feel
there's that too.
Like because consistent is hard work. Like I always tell people, and I tell Sam this, I tell everybody, like the work that can get executed by anyone. It's technically not hard. What makes it hard is doing it every single day.
Yeah.
Like lifting, like going to the gym every single day is hard work. Going to the gym once, that's not hard. Lifting the weights, in theory, yes, it's heavy, but that's not a hard thing for you to do. It doesn't take everything, your ounce in your body to lift the weight one time. It takes everything out of your body to be consistently in the gym every single day for your goal.
Right.
You wanted to get healthy, correct?
Right.
So that's the hard thing.
So you know what's crazy is, have you ever seen that meme about how the hard work is when people stop clapping for you? Yeah. So for example, I actually wrote a whole blog post about the realities of long-term weight loss. And when you're first losing weight, everyone's like cheering you on, commenting on how great you look, oh my gosh, you look, people notice it and take notice. So the real hard work is being consistent once you've reached that goal, because no one's clapping for you anymore. Exactly.
And I think that's a very good point. To be consistent or chasing something, you shouldn't, it matters your motivation, but I feel like it has to come from within. You can't be doing it for the clap. If you're, and it's great to get the clap. And trust me, I'm the first.
It's not good to get the clap,
right?
Vince.
Oh, it's great to get the acknowledgement, right? The love, right, from the people. And I do a lot of things not for the clap, but for the acknowledgement, right? The admiration. I love that personally. But also,
you're not going to do it long term for the recognition.
Yeah, because
it might help you. I mean,
they don't care.
It might help you a little bit on the way to keep going.
No one cares, like, to be honest, if you're overweight or fit.
Yeah.
They're worried about themselves every single day. So you have to have that drive from within to be consistent, I feel like. And like the reason why I believe is the secret to success is everyone that I know is successful, tongue twister there, they're consistent with everything in their life. Whatever they do, they show up, period.
Correct. So give me an example of perhaps a time when you weren't consistent at work, and then you became, like, maybe something, maybe a structure you put in place at your workplace, or something that you started doing consistently in the restaurant that directly impacted your success. So
for me, as someone who doesn't like too much rules and formation around myself, when I was younger, especially at school, it was hard for me to be consistent because I didn't care about it that much.
You didn't have that deep motivation.
Yeah, and maybe not.
You probably didn't see the value in it.
I think also I wasn't good at it, so it was very hard for me to consistently.
Threes don't like to do things they're not good at.
Exactly. So it's really hard for me to be consistently bad at something. Right. So not saying everything should be easy. That's where the hard work comes through, and this is why I think because of that, I learned how to fall in love with hard work, and I've learned to kind of be okay with not being the best at something right away. But I do fight that every single day. Okay,
I think you just touched on something that I've heard about, read about, where you said you learned to fall in love with the hard work.
Yeah.
So much of what I try to explain to people, because, for example, spoiler alert, I don't like to work out either.
Yeah.
There's not an athletic person on either side of my body, so it's not in my DNA.
Yeah.
There's no one super thin or fit, or there's no racers or runners or marathoners or even football play. There's none of that.
But business builders.
There are. But my point is that,
which is crazy,
you have to change your mindset and change your thought about it. So for example, instead of being like, oh, I have to go to the gym today, or oh, I do not want to do that, I'm so tired, et cetera, negative, think, I'm so grateful that I have the first of all, the financial means to belong to a gym. I'm so grateful my body is healthy enough to work out today. And that all sounds, I know, probably super cheesy, but at the end of the day, once you start practicing being positive and having those positive thoughts about it, even for me, it'd be like, I'm so glad I can go on a trip and indulge because I'm working out today. So whatever you need to do to change your mindset about being at the gym, for me, it's oh my God, I'm so glad I can fit into that new dress I just bought. Whatever it might be, like you said, you have to fall in love with the work.
You have to fall in love.
No one naturally is super I can't wait to clean toilets today.
Well, let me clarify too, maybe not the work exactly, but the consistency. You got to fall in love with you showing up every single day. I tell people all the time, there's nothing they can take away from you. There's nothing you can take away from me at the end of the day because I'm consistent.
Right.
Somebody can take your business away right now from you today and you'll build another one.
Yeah.
Because you have the tools to build one.
Yeah, your mind.
You know what I'm saying? So and that only comes from being consistent, right? You being consistent. You didn't quit when it got hard.
Right.
You consistently, I'm going to do this thing, right?
Well,
and you don't judge yourself halfway through. You didn't lose 60 pounds in a month.
Right.
Right? Imagine if, so what I hear you saying about the gym, for example, or your business is fall in love with the hard work. But in that, I feel like falling in love with you being consistent. Love yourself for showing up every single day.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like for me, like, and you're like an EFMP like me, no rules, cool. Like I've worked out late at night, I've worked out early in the morning, and now I'm been working out midday. For me, it's just about me making sure I go work out. Correct. I don't care what time I go to the gym. It's more about like I have to just go.
Mm-hmm. Same thing if you can't do like a full hour-long class, even if you could do like a 15-minute walk around the block, that because the body in motion stays in motion.
Yeah.
So, and we'll talk about momentum maybe later in the alphabet, but that to your point, you're correct. Like something is better than nothing.
Exactly, because I had a point that just escaped me, but it's not. I'm trying to put this. Like showing up to the gym, building a business, is not about your current circumstance or how you feel about something. Because everyone has different levels and different playing fields. You could be right now listening to this podcast and you're broke. And we're talking about being consistent right now. You're like, well, there's no way I can be consistent because my circumstance is crappy right now. Well, I'm saying, well, you have to fall in love with that part of it because like it doesn't matter what you're doing.
Right. It's about enjoying the ride.
Right? Yeah, you got to fall in love with like, all right, like fall in love with like grade yourself. Like if I got graded for showing up every single day, right, and like putting the work in, that's a much better way, I feel like, versus than, oh, because you didn't get this answer right, now you're not. Well, like how can you judge someone's hard work off that, or someone being their consistency off that, right? Same thing with like going out to the gym or building a business, right? You got to fall in love personally with that feeling. And like for me, I have a great inner compass. So what I do is when I'm like not being consistent or I feel like I'm gonna do something, right? I hear it and I feel it, and what I do is just like as soon as I get that message in my body, I go do it. Like for example, when we were getting started, my brain was like, "Talk about it. You gotta get consistent. You gotta talk about this now." Right. Like instead of like me like list like and not doing it, right? Because like I believe so much in being consistent because I think that's been the difference for me. At all my friends, at all people that I know, is that like I show up every single day. Period. Yeah. I'm consistent, even when I don't want to be. Even when I'm sick. You see me being deathly sick. Yeah. Don't worry, guys. I didn't touch your food, but I was at the restaurant. Right? Like, because I have to show up. Yeah. I have to be consistent. Right? Like this is a me versus me game, and like you're that competitive with yourself, and I think that's a great way to look at it. How about you? I don't think you probably take that kind of stance with it, but you were talking about your business, how you went from.
I have a couple examples.
Yeah, talk about how you grew your business, whatever.
Well, first of all, about being consistent and the motivation to obviously we're all human, so we are driven every day. We have motivations of whatever we do, right? So for me, my business, I didn't make any money for 3 years. So I don't personally know anybody else that's worked for 3 years at any one job and not been paid. Do you? No. So the fact that I consistently, wrote blog posts, developed recipes, published those posts, promoted the posts on social media, did all the work of being a blogger without receiving any money for 3 years is a good example of the benefit of being consistent. Imagine now looking back if I had quit. And now I have a 6-figure business that I made. Imagine if at year 2 I quit.
Yeah, exactly.
So for me, what I think helped me with that, and same thing with weight loss. You don't go to the gym today and go home and weigh yourself and you're 10 pounds less than the day before, right? You don't see. In fact, I've been working out. We were talking about this at lunch. I work out all the time. I lift weights, heavy weights. I don't go home and see a new muscle pop up. There's very little. You don't get that instant gratification or confirmation that you're hard, because no one wants to be wasting their time. Yeah. So for me, part of being, I don't know whether it's maturing or just having faith in myself, or perhaps you might nowadays see, when I started there were no full-time bloggers, but maybe now you can say, oh, well, if Liz can do it, that's a motivation. Whatever it might be, I really think that you have to think about the long-term benefits as opposed to just that short-term reward. And I think as humans, we want that short-term reward, but one thing that I learned from Brooke Castillo of the Life Coach podcast is that humans are the only species that can delay short-term gratification for long-term reward. So for example, it'd be a lot more fun to sit home and eat cake or ice cream than go to the gym. But humans have the ability, we're the only species, to delay short-term gratification for long-term reward. So you think about that, that's why,
Even real quick,
Yeah.
to interject for a second, even the eating cake and ice cream, that's you being consistently doing that kind of stuff.
What do you mean?
Like that's you being consistent. I don't think like a lot of people realize that it's a habit. Yes, like we can really break down the right word for this.
You mean me not eating cake and ice cream?
No, someone who decides to eat cake and ice cream instead of going to the gym.
Oh,
we can talk about habit. I'm saying like we can really get the right words for it, but like that's a consistent behavior.
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to show people.
Yeah,
like, that's the difference. You consistently
creating habits,
right? You're consistently creating a habit. You're consistently moving the needle forward. You're consistently. That's the magic, right? And when you catch on to that, and you can and be in control of that, that's when I think what you're saying, which I've seen from you, what you've built already, is a difference maker.
Yeah.
3 years, right? Your first year, you got used to being consistently doing a thing.
Right.
You weren't worried about, I mean, of course it sucked, but you weren't worried about not making money because you already fell in love with being consistently posting, consistently working on your blog, consistently living the brand, consistently being you. And 10 years down the road, you just outpace somebody by being consistent.
Right. And that's what I think is so important is that I think a lot of people create these, I don't know if it's self-sabotage or just these excuses. Humans love to create excuses as to why they haven't made X amount of money or why they haven't started a business or why they haven't reached this weight loss goal or why. Ultimately, I think that people are looking for these big, dramatic, they think it takes a lot more than it does. There was no cost to me. My website was free, and I just started publishing on it on a regular basis. Same thing with working out. You don't need a gym membership to work out every day. First of all, weight loss is 80% what you eat. Yeah. So first of all, let's just be real. Secondly, you're just creating excuses. Consistency is free.
Yeah.
Sam's not here, but I'd tell him to clip that if he was.
Sam, clip that. Consistency is free, baby. Free 99.
Right. Like, that's the thing. Like, to me, I think that we love to come up with reasons why we haven't done X, Y, and Z. But at the end of the day, the only reason is that you haven't been consistent with whatever it was. So think about different projects you've started and stopped, or different times maybe different diets. Like, people love to start and stop diets. And, you know, we can get into that as well. I mean, consistency in weight loss is huge, obviously.
Exactly.
Is there a time maybe in your business when you haven't been consistent and you've noticed? Like maybe, what about with food products, high quality, consistently offering? I don't think I'd keep coming back to Irie Kitchen if I had to worry about the quality of the product changing each time, right?
Yeah, no. So, like, I mean, there's like obviously there's struggles in business. Like someone like me who like takes on more and more, and we talk about this later if this becomes one of the things like an opportunity cost, but obviously,
spoiler alerts for
things might come in the way to like impede on your and I feel like you should not judge yourself in those moments. Like I feel like you just gotta like kind of take it what it is and be like, okay, at least I recognized it because I'm being consistent.
Yeah,
so
don't
like,
beat yourself up for falling. That's the thing, because the quicker you get back on track, we're all human.
Exactly.
Like we all have holidays, vacations. Like there's
life.
times when I eat junk.
Yeah, life.
But the quicker and you make a good point, don't beat yourself up over it.
So you said something I want to go back to. So the breakthroughs or destinations you're looking for are while you're being consistent. Right? Like that destination, like that 6-figure business. Like you fell in love with what you were doing before the 6-figure business.
Yeah, I didn't know you could I didn't know you could make money.
You know what
I probably wouldn't have done it for 3 years.
That happened.
I think if I had known, I think that's also why most bloggers starting out now.
Most business people or anything.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, no. Like, I get it. Have a North Star, have a destination you're trying to get. But that breakthrough, that love, that thing where you realize that consistency is the secret is like not because you finally got to the 6 figures or the 7 figures or whatever it is. It's like, no, it's like you fell in love doing what you did every single day and showing up every single day.
Well, this brings a good segue because I will also say I, as an ESFJ, I find comfort in schedule and routine. So I think there is something to be said for consistency might be easier for certain personalities than others, for certain people than others.
100%.
So I will just give that, I will just I always say same thing. Like, for example, I've always had really good self-control and that probably is just my personality type. So let's talk about that. Cause you don't love routine or structure. So how do you remain consistent?
So if you're somebody who hates routine and structure, I mentioned earlier, right? The consistency.
It probably comes up every day that we talk.
Yeah, right? The consistency.
Which is every day.
Yeah, which is every day. The consistency for you is going to be like the bigger goal.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not going to be the 8 a.m. workouts. That's not going to get you excited, and that's not going to make you consistent at all if you're like me. Right? That's what I'm saying. Just working out.
So what? Now that you've, for example, been working out consistently, congratulations, by the way. That's huge. Because for the record, I had to get into that too. So how now? Like, how do you? What got you to do it?
Well, first off, I had to let go of what time I worked out.
Yeah. So you let go of what you let go of is perfection, maybe.
Yeah, perfection, but also like remember, I'm not.
Did a 3 just really let go of perfection?
And also structure. For me, because my brain goes crazy. So,
like, if someone's like, "You got to go to the gym at 5 a.m.," then you're not going to do that.
That was more of a chore for me to do. I was like, why I had to go at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Now I'm questioning the whole thing.
Yeah,
I want to do it my way. So for me, it was like, well, and we had some fitness people that we talked to, and it clicked for me. It was like working out in the gym is like running a business. And I was like, oh,
yeah, ding 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 ding, ding. I got it.
I just got to work out.
Yeah. So
doesn't matter when for me.
I talk about that a lot. You just stop making excuses.
Stop making excuses.
The minute you stop making excuses, you will not believe how much you accomplish.
Exactly. And then let's go back. Yeah. So this brought back my point I want to make earlier. I have a true belief of that. If you can't go 100% in something you don't want to do, there's no way you can go 100% in something that you want to do because you just don't know what it takes.
That's a good little.
So like, and this comes back down to consistency. I have done things. Hence cleaning toilets. Yeah. Hence checking out trash. Hence being in bad meetings and calls. Things I really don't want to do. But I did it at 100%, right? Which then gives me the power, and I fell in love with that feeling, that consistency, which then makes the gym way easier.
Correct.
So I think for a lot of people, it's like, adding it to my life, like, oh my, like, it makes such a big deal of it. They tell this huge grand story about why they can't do something, why they can't be consistent. But what I'm realizing as I'm getting older is like finding out where someone is consistent. It could be bad behavior and it can be good behavior because consistency in my brain isn't just while you're being good. Right. There's things that you do consistently.
Self-destruction.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you point that out and you catch that out, right? So like every time I did eat bad. Or
are you talking about bad habits, really?
Right. Right? That was a consistent behavior of mine, right? I know what that feels like. Right. I know what it feels like to eat a Wendy's sandwich and it felt great. Minute 1
for 1 minute,
and minute 4 you felt like crap, right?
Fun fact: his restaurant is next to a Wendy's. Right. For those of you
shout out to Wendy's.
No, I'm not shouting out to Wendy's. Vince can shout out to Wendy's.
It's all love on my side.
No, no shout out from me.
But like so that feeling of being consistent, right, helps me go to the gym now because just working out.
Well, okay, so
well, if to sum it up real quick, if you're not a structure person, you hate that. Obviously, in life, you got to have some structure. You just got to take the L, right? So like, but fall in love with the bigger picture. Yeah, like working out for a better. I don't even have like a number in my mind where I want to get to.
It's probably more about feeling better in your own skin. Like sometimes it's as simple as that.
Yeah, and then for what I want to do in life, like I got to be healthy.
He's got big goals, folks.
Right, I can't be 400 pounds wanting to do stuff.
So I have a tip for people that are like you that don't like, that I listened to today on another podcast called the Personality Hacker Podcast, which if you're into Myers-Briggs, that's all they talk about. So Vince is an ENFP, I'm an ESFJ, and he's a perceiver, which is what the P stands for. I use the judging function. And the whole episode today was why perceivers struggle with structure and schedules. And the example was about working out because the woman who does it she's a perceiver. And she said, so for example, if you resonate with what Vince is saying, that it's harder for you, whereas I find comfort in the schedule, if it's harder for you to get into that schedule, especially if you're an entrepreneur, maybe you're a creative, an artist, a musician, where you don't have whether it's a 9-to-5 job that forces you to have structure, or in my instance, kids force you into that structure. Yeah. If you don't have those built-in structure creators, it's going to be a lot more like you don't, right? So you have the restaurant, of course. Yeah. But there are things that you have to do that are not part of that, right? Like going to the gym. And the tip that they gave was that, like you said, don't be stuck with the same time every day at the gym. Play around and try it at midnight one day, try it at noon, try it at 5 a.m. Yeah. Try it, and then eventually what happens is that you're going to find a spot that works, and you'll naturally get into rhythm, as opposed to telling yourself ahead of time, all right, if you gotta go to the gym 4 days a week at 5 a.m. Whereas my personality type, I actually do better on Sunday. I put my workouts in the schedule for the week, and that just works better for me. So that might be a helpful tip if you're a perceiver. I know we have a lot of listeners that are perceivers.
When I did that, there's no way I'll make every excuse in the book.
Correct, and that's what the podcast woman said.
Oh, I got a call at 7.
Right.
I might be too tired for it.
Right.
There might be too many people at the gym today.
Right.
Like every excuse in the
book.
my
shirt's dirty.
Yeah,
my workout shirt's dirty.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I could come up with an excuse not to go.
Exactly.
Versus when I wake up in the morning, it's like, okay, like right now I've been going in the middle of the day, which was your suggestion.
Yeah. I'm so glad that you started doing that.
But for me, it was just like, work out.
Yeah.
And now mentally, I've sold myself on it. I told that story to myself that I'm someone that works out, and now I can be consistent about it.
Yeah. So like you said right there, you change your thought about it. Mm-hmm. So what is another, well, maybe I'll share an example of where consistency has helped my business, moving away from maybe the gym and weight loss. So in the 3rd year of my blog, I started posting on a consistent basis on my website. So if you're not a blogger, maybe you're a content creator online, maybe you do YouTube videos, or perhaps you're an Instagram influencer, or perhaps you're just a musician or anything else, whatever it might be. My example is that when I started posting consistently on the same days of the week, every week, my traffic grew 200%. So similar to, for example, if you listen to podcasts, you probably know the day your favorite podcasts come out. Spoiler alert, ours comes out on Saturdays. So I know, like for me, the Life Coach podcast comes out on Thursdays, and I look forward to that. And there's a reason they do that. They're posting on a consistent basis, and people come to expect it. People notice it when it's missing, which is a reason to be consistent. I know for my blog, people are going to go on my website looking for the new post. Mm-hmm. So when I started, whereas before that, for 3 years, I was like, I'll try today at 2 p.m. Mm-hmm. Oh, Saturday at noon. Sure, sounds good. Mm-hmm. It was so random. Yeah. Isn't that crazy though? Mm-hmm. But I didn't start posting on a schedule on purpose. Yeah. I just did that for my own, to balance my workload. Yeah. But what about you?
So first of all, I think that's really great tips. I want to say that first.
Thanks, Vince.
And I think and now that, cause we talked about it a little bit before, I think that's right, what you were saying. Okay. Like, I do not disagree with having a set time while you're posting, or like, I mean, the restaurant opens up every single day at the same time, right? Like,
no, literally though, that's an example.
It's not like,
I've been to shops, Vince, locally, that are like you, where the owner is working every day, and I've shown up on like a Thursday at 10 a.m. and they were closed. Yeah, so and they're normally open on the day, but she just decided not to go that day. Yeah, totally fine, by the way. That's totally fine. Yeah, but that's gonna prevent me from coming all the time, because I'm gonna be nervous, because I actually was there with a group of people to show them it. So that's going to make me more apprehensive. And to me, you know what I'm saying? So you make a really good point.
Yes, and to me, like, that's not consistent behavior. Yeah. Right? And now if you're like me and you're like not with structure and all that stuff, and like obviously each business is different, or your lifestyle is set up differently, obviously. So if you're a shop owner and you open at 10, well, then you have to be there at 10. Yeah. The beauty in that, though, is that you set your hours as a shop owner. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter when you open. Mm-hmm. You create that. So for me, it's like, yes, whenever the time you do set, like, then becomes a consistent part. If you own a retail shop, or hence a blog, or you're on the internet a lot, obviously you should, like, I can see where the Saturday thing, or the Wednesday thing, or the Monday thing becomes a thing that you do for your community to build it up, right? Because I could not imagine running a business that it might be open on Monday. Right.
Maybe make.
Well, then you might make money.
Right.
Like there's no like, that's not really consistent behavior. But I do also believe that, like, the overall, like, the overarching being consistent is just doing it, and not like being, if you're like me, like not being tied by these fake rules you make up. Like, when we post on a Saturday or in the week, like, we made that up. Yeah. There was no Bible.
No, Vince, you told me Saturday was the day.
Yeah, I said Saturday.
Vince assured me that Saturday.
Her and Sam brought me up data that showed me Saturday's the worst day to post.
Literally the worst.
And I still wanted Saturday.
So folks, prove me wrong.
And then, to be honest, I was surprised that people who are so data driven, like, actually picked Saturday. And I was like, all right, cool.
Oh, so, we're not. We succumb to pressure.
You know.
No, I'm pretty convincing. Truthfully, I trust Vince's intuition.
Mind you, like, this is just my gut talking, so
We're trusting it. We'll see what happens.
Actually,
I want to get some tips
really good. This
too.
is actually a really good thing.
Okay.
Side interjection. This is not about consistency, for example, but if you're listening in this moment, please leave a comment whether you would prefer our podcast to be in the weekday or a weekend. Because I'm, to be honest, agnostic about when it's being posted. I just want it to be posted. Again, my version, right? My version of being consistent, right? Like in that instant, I just want to be posted. If it's Wednesday, it's great, right? But I understand like promotion, get everything organized. Like I'm not oblivious to systems and stuff like that. But again, I also think to myself, I'm not that kind of person. So I get it, but it's on other people like you and like Sam who are like, this is the day, like 3 p.m. Cool.
Regardless, we listened to Vince and we went with Saturday. So wait, I have a few pieces of advice about, a lot of people ask me how I'm able to be consistent at work, at working out, losing weight. Can I give a few practical tips, like a couple takeaways?
Hell yeah.
So first of all, when it comes to working, I get this question a lot because I've got 2 little boys. Yeah. Obviously, I'm married. I own a business with 1 employee. And, you know, there's just a lot of demands on my time, right? So people always want to know how I find time to work out. And I think that one comes up the most because let's be real, what's the first thing you cut out in your day if you're busy working out? Yeah. It's the first thing to go. Okay, here's what I do. Because it's one thing to be like, oh no, just keep going and do it. It's great. Here's an actual way I do it. Because again, I don't like to work out. On Sunday, and this day of the week could be whatever day of the week that you have a minute. On Sunday, I look at my schedule. So I'm a big fan of thinking ahead and not just being reactive in life, but being proactive. I have this talk a lot with, people that work with me, people on my team. I just have found that if you plan a little bit ahead, you're going to avoid a lot of conflict or problems. So I look at my schedule. And every week it's different because I'm self-employed. So I look at what meetings I've got. I look at what calls I have. I look at what school activity. I mean, I have to go to like school activities in the middle of the day or whatever it is. So I find time and I put my workouts in my calendar for the whole week in advance. And that way, each day I don't have to wake up and play that game of like, oh, should I work out or not? There's no thought to it. It's literally in my calendar, just like the dentist, just like every day I don't wake up, should I take my kids to school today? I don't know if I don't do that. So working out is a similar non-negotiable. Same thing with cooking a healthy dinner for my family. I don't debate like, should we get hot dogs today? Yeah. Like it's just that's what we do, right? So it sounds super obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people ask me that and then they're not doing that. And I really recommend just a week out. And then if things come up as they do, again, I'll look every day the next day and make sure my workout is built into my calendar. So if something does come up last minute, things do come up. So I just find another time in the day to work out. Just like you said, I'm not set to the time so much as doing it on a consistent basis.
Yeah, you just got to show up every single day.
Yeah. What tips do you have? I feel like you've got some tips.
Yeah, so I think the same, what you were saying. Like, I think I agree with everything you said. Also, like while being consistent, because there's been times that I've struggled, especially when I've been more reactive.
Right. So give an example of that.
So for me, right, like a lot of my natural behavior is reactive. Right? Like I'd much rather
like putting out fires or responding to things that come up.
I'm a quick thinker, strategizer, right? So like a lot of my game is being reactive. What I've learned to do is be more like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Proactive?
Proactive.
You're like, what's that P word that I hate?
Or like, you said it before.
Future thinking, forward thinking.
No, well, you said it. You just said it a second ago. Was it proactive that you said? Like you're trying to get your team to be more...
instead of being responsive, being more future thinking or forward thinking or proactive.
Like the offense, right?
Yeah.
Like being ready.
Sports. We got to bring it to sports.
Right, like being
not
ready.
On the defense all the time. But
So like you can be ready and also be reactive. If that makes sense. So like for example, like prime example, like we don't know what's going to be our best seller at the restaurant.
Right.
Or any given day.
It should be the curry goat.
Right? But it's not like I'm not going to make something.
Right.
Like, right? Like, I'm not going to make curry goat to the kind of things in the sell. Like, those are not, you have to be ready.
Correct.
So, every day I have enough of everything. Right? So, like, if you're more of a reactive person like myself, prep yourself to always be ready.
Yeah.
It's okay to be reactive, like, oh, I gotta make more rice. That's okay, instead of making too much.
Right.
Right? But you have to be ready, though. You cannot not have rice.
Right.
Right? So I'm learning now how to always...
You probably have different systems in place. So, for example, you don't just buy enough. You obviously have backup rice in the back. You know,
exactly.
You've got, yeah.
Right? So I've learned how to be ready for anything, but still also be reactive enough so I'm more moldable, because that's who I am authentically as a person, right?
Yeah.
Like, I can move faster that way for me. But it took me a while to not be reactive and not... I used to be not ready and reactive.
I have another tip. Can I share it?
Yeah.
I'm trying to make this episode really dense with tips because that's kind of what I like. So, for those of you that are listening that are perhaps you are content creators, whether you have a blog or an Instagram account, on YouTube, et cetera, I'm a big fan of batch working. So, for example, when I'm consistently posting my website, I'm not immune to the day-to-day realities that things come up. For example, I've got little kids. So like today, Jacob, I thought had a fever and my day was about to be destroyed. Yeah. But I would have been okay because I batch work. And what that means for my work, and this could look different in no matter what you do. So for example, batch work for you would be chopping a bunch of kale, not just chopping the kale each time a customer walks in. For me, I photograph all my recipes twice a month. So I get 12 blog posts done in 2 days, as opposed to when I first started blogging, I would literally photograph our dinner every night. So now we have a photo shoot at 6 hours, we shoot 6 recipes, and because of that, I'm able to batch up my content and schedule it out. So similar, whether a lot of podcasters, we don't do this, but a lot of them will record like 3 episodes in one sitting. So there's ways to do it that allow you, here's a really good tip. I'll assume there's going to be things that come up. Allow life into your world. So for example, I've got little kids. I've got a lot of things I can't control. So assume those are all going to happen. No one has this like perfect life with no demands on them. We all do, right? You have an employee call out, you're down a third of your business. So my point is that there are ways to plan ahead so that you can remain consistent, because we both really agree that consistency is the key to success.
It is. It's the biggest difference maker. And when you decide to be consistent, or you choose to follow the consistent guy, whatever, right? You will see tremendous growth within yourself and your business, your life. Like I even think my relationships that are
let's talk about on a
like,
personal relationship. Personal, not work relationship. Like
I'm busy and like my brain's everywhere, but I do have the people in my life where I try to be more consistent with the answer back or things like that to show that I care, and like also just like I'm also recognizing about myself and I'm also trying to get better.
That's a really good point.
So what I was talking about earlier in this, we're getting multiple topics in this podcast, but I think it's amazing because it's who we are naturally. Right now, my life is what I call biz life. Right? It's my business and my life is kind of merged together. And what I want to be able to do is pull out the pieces and have a life and also have a business. So like... What?
You want to have a life?
Yeah. So like...
Vince. And greedy over here.
And like, she's from like a type 3 like me, and like, it's super, super hard to decide to have a quote unquote life that may not be as valuable in our brain. Right. Like to me, and I know I might come off really bad right now, but like a lot of times I don't see value having friends who aren't doing what I'm doing or like chase, right? It's hard for me to like turn off. Yeah. And like, listen, I took 2 days off, Sunday and Monday, and like I ended up doing Irie and I ended up doing other stuff. Like, so my personality is always adding more to my plate. Right. I'm never really going to quote unquote have time off, but I want to look at like working out as a business.
Well, the secret to that is creating a work that feels like fun. That's what I did.
Well, yeah, and like, it's not.
There's a little secret for you folks.
Yeah, but I also enjoy what I do.
That's what I'm saying. So when work feels like fun, it doesn't feel like work.
Exactly.
When your work is
I'm
fun.
also very conscious about like turning my friends, my friends to also like, that's a business. So as much time as I put in my business, as much time I put in working out, I also have to allocate time to building friendships and relationships, because all that stuff means nothing if I can't share with my family and friends. Period. Right? Like, what's the point? Like, cool. There's no point after you did it. No. Or doing it. Like, the reason why, like, you have an amazing house, you have an amazing business, you have an amazing foundation of family. Like that's the reason why, or one of the reasons why you built this thing.
Yeah.
Right. Like you don't like, and unless you could be more self-preservant and like care about your own. That's great too.
Right.
You have to know yourself. But for me, it's like, man, like it's cool seeing my friend be able to eat at my restaurant.
Right.
So if I don't feed that,
yeah,
I'll have no friends that eat at my restaurant, and I'll just have customers.
Right.
Right. And which almost feels less authentic, not real. For
less
me.
rewarding, maybe.
Less rewarding. There's no social cap. There's no like.
Yeah.
So well, then at that point, like it's not leaving a legacy. It's not anything meaningful.
Right.
So.
I have a tip as well. Another question I get, this might sound really silly to you, but a question I get all the time is how I'm able to maintain so many friendships because of how busy I am. Because just like you talked about how it's sometimes hard for you because you're working all the time, so you almost put them in those boxes. And I think just like we've talked about with business and weight loss, we've touched on, consistency is also the key to strong friendships. So the reason I have a lot of long-term friendships is because I consistently show up for them. So whether that's, reaching out to them via text or calling them consistently or inviting them over for dinner or inviting them out for a drink, I consistently make an effort. And I think that's really what it's about. I consistently make an effort. I think a lot of people kind of sit home and, like, for example, I always say everyone wants to be invited to the party, but no one wants to throw the party. So, like, I'm in a dinner club right now. To that too? Right.
And also, like, people also, well, take this how you guys want to take it, but, like, also, I have another thing where, like, going off that party thing, like, there's a lot of people who, like, talking about feeding a relationship, who want to come eat at the party, drink at the party, but bring nothing. Oh. And I also have something like, there's so many people, like, they don't even bring a fork. Right? Imagine, like, those kind of, if you're that kind of friend or have friends or family members who, like, and I don't judge.
They always take the.
I also don't judge your kids. They can't bring, like, right? Like, they bring you joy, right? But, like, people in your life, and that's how you can judge a friendship. Like, if they expect a lot, if they expect to come to the party, like, well, you don't have this here,
right?
They're like, well, you could have brought it, right? Like, so watch out for people who like bring nothing.
Takers versus givers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, keep going though.
Well, I was just saying, I get that question all the time. And I think probably as you get a little bit older, you have kids, it's harder to make friends. Like, we're not, I think the older you get, when you're not in school anymore, and you're not in college, living with a bunch of young kids, it's harder to make friends. So everyone asks me how I have maintained so many friendships over time, given how busy I am. But that's because I put in the effort on a consistent basis. And I think that in general, if you want something, you have to make an effort. And I think a lot of people, for example, I have a dinner club, and there's been a few people that have expressed displeasure that they're not part of it. So I'm always encouraging them to start a dinner club.
Shade.
Like, start a dinner club. So I just feel like if you want something, you have to make an effort, and you need to do it on a consistent basis. So friends aren't going to just knock on your door and show up begging to be your friend. You have to consistently make an effort. So every friendship I have, I nurture it on a consistent basis.
And also, let's talk about levels, and like what popped in my brain, I'm just going to say I haven't fully thought it out through.
Oh, here we go.
Consistency, momentum, and then like magnets. So my point is, while you're being consistent, you're now also creating momentum, right? Which then creates like a magnet. So you're gonna start drawing the right people into your life who understand that, right? Like the reason why you have great friendships too, because they also understand your life, right? And then they support your life, and they're not trying to take anything from you, or right? So like as you're being consistent, you start catching momentum, right? So you were consistent for,
and you're putting out into the world what you value.
You were consistent for 2 years. 3 years, and on top of that, you found a date when you're trying to start posting. I believe you hit momentum, right? And now you're 10 years into your business. You're a magnet. Like, you're drawing things to you because you're creating something by being through this process, right? Like, you're consistent,
right?
Into a magnet. So
I like that.
It's popped in my head about.
I like that. That's a really good point.
So same with me too, right? Like, you start creating more friends, or your relationships get deeper and stronger. Your foundation.
What you focus on persists.
Exactly.
So if you're focused on whether it's losing weight, growing a business, establishing deeper friendships, whatever it might be, it could be, I mean, these are just things that we talk about, but it could really apply to anything. And whatever you put out into the universe is what you're going to get back. So if you...
And the funny thing is, as I'm thinking about this all comes back to consistent behavior.
All of it.
Everything. That's why I truly believe in every bone. Like, in my body, consistent is the secret to success.
And guess what? Consistency is how many dollars? Zero. It's free.
It's free.
So, once again, no excuses.
Want to build good habits? Be consistent.
Yeah.
Want to be fit? Be consistent. Want to build $1 million business? Be consistent. Want to have a great family? Be consistent. Like, it all comes back to doing the damn thing.
That's it.
That's
Look,
it.
we just solved it. There you go, folks. There you go. It's free.
Free 99.
All right. Should we wrap up?
We should wrap up. This is episode 4. We talked about consistency. Please, guys, please share with your best friend, your mom, your uncle. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, we appreciate as well your 5-star reviews on iTunes. I saw at least 9 the other day. I can't. That was just from one episode. Thank you so much. I just want you to know we see all those reviews. We read them all. Yeah, we do not take them for granted. So thank you for that. We really appreciate it. The other thing is, if you're on Instagram, please tag Irie.lemon and or me, Vince, etc. But we really appreciate you just spreading the word, because we feel really excited and passionate about this podcast, and we think it can really help a lot of people. So hopefully you can help us spread the word. We appreciate it.
We appreciate it. Big time. Big time rush.
That's it. Hope to see you at some of these upcoming events.
Yes.
And have a good week.
Take care.